For decades, IQ tests measured a mysterious statistical entity called general intelligence, without fully explaining what it actually was at a cognitive level. Modern cognitive science has zeroed in on a compelling candidate: working memory capacity. The ability to hold and manipulate information in mind correlates so strongly with fluid intelligence that some researchers argue they may be measuring nearly the same underlying cognitive resource. Charles Spearman's G factor, discovered through factor analysis of correlations across diverse cognitive tests, represents the substantial shared variance common to virtually all measures of cognitive ability. People who perform well on one type of mental task tend to perform above average on nearly all other types of mental tasks, a phenomenon called the positive manifold. While G is a robust statistical finding, replicated across decades of psychometric research, its underlying cognitive or neural mechanism remained genuinely unclear for most of the 20th century. Working memory capacity refers to the amount of information an individual can actively hold in mind and manipulate simultaneously while performing a cognitive task, typically measured using complex span tasks that require remembering a set of items while simultaneously performing an unrelated processing task, such as remembering a series of words while solving simple math problems between each word. Unlike simple short-term memory span, which measures passive storage alone, working memory capacity specifically captures the ability to maintain information under conditions of active interference and competing cognitive demands. Randall Engel and colleagues' influential research program found that working memory capacity correlates extraordinarily strongly with measures of fluid intelligence, the ability to reason and solve novel problems independent of acquired knowledge, with correlations in some studies reaching 0.7 to 0.9. Among the strongest correlations found anywhere in individual differences research, suggesting these two constructs, though conceptually and historically distinct, may substantially reflect overlapping underlying cognitive resources or mechanisms. Engel's attentional control hypothesis proposes that the strong link between working memory capacity and fluid intelligence is substantially explained by a shared underlying capacity for attentional control, the ability to maintain focus on task-relevant information and actively resist interference from irrelevant or distracting information. On this view, both working memory tasks and fluid intelligence tasks fundamentally require sustained, controlled attention in the face of competing demands and distraction, making attentional control, rather than storage capacity itself, the more fundamental underlying cognitive resource. Given the strong correlation between working memory capacity and fluid intelligence, commercial brain training companies marketed working memory training programs as a method for directly boosting general intelligence, generating a multi-billion-dollar industry. However, rigorous randomized controlled trials with active control groups have consistently found that while working memory training reliably improves performance on the specific trained tasks, this improvement largely fails to transfer to genuinely different working memory tasks or, most critically, to independent measures of fluid intelligence, a finding that led the Federal Trade Commission to fine at least one major brain training company for false advertising. Working memory capacity offers one of the most promising leads yet in the decades-long search for what general intelligence actually is at a cognitive level. But the failure of brain training programs to boost fluid intelligence through working memory training is a sobering reminder that a strong correlation between two constructs does not mean one can be easily manipulated to change the other.